anyone waiting in the wings for next year?
Always waiting.
Okay, so I'm going to get us started. We're going to look at the, well, we'll start with citizens' comments.
We're gonna do the minutes?
Okay. I'm going to go to the minutes. We have the minutes from January 10th, January 22nd. Yeah, Karen?
That little comment, do you know who this is? It was Sarah Wells.
Thank you.
From
I
Orange?
didn't anticipate that would actually be in the minutes. I was hoping somebody would correct it before, but thank you.
Yeah.
Sarah Wells.
Sarah Wells, she's a school choice parent from Orange.
Oh, so she's from Orange.
Yep.
Orange.
Her children go to Warwick Community School. Her children go to Warwick Community School.
Thank you.
There are a couple of typos if you want.
Sure.
On the first page, paragraph that starts Todd Dexter. Third sentence from the bottom, third row from the bottom, it should be had built a new school.
Yep.
And on page 3, under sped,
Yep.
second line, I think it should be on some of her various duties instead of here.
Yep.
And that's all I found.
okay? It's for DOOD. Okay.
Oh.
That's much better. Yes.
Okay, anything else from January 10th? Do we want to put them together or separately? Yep. Sharon?
I'll make a motion, we accept the January 10th meetings with the corrections.
All those in favor? Thank you, everyone. Okay, January 22nd.
Now that we just approved these minutes, I noticed that we have upcoming meetings. A lot of those were changed, weren't they? Okay, we should have changed them up. Should we have changed them on the minutes?
No.
I think they were, at the time, they were accurate.
Okay.
Representation, what was said.
This is pretty brief.
I'll make a motion, we accept the minutes for January 22nd.
I don't believe I was at that meeting. Oh, I'm sorry, I misread it. It's listed correctly.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yep.
Anybody second?
Okay, all those in favor? Does anyone have any questions for the accounts payable section? About the financial report section?
go, that's better. We're on track with our expenditures. There are still a couple numbers in here that are in the negative. They're fairly small. Again, we're still tracking the telephone numbers with the changeover to Crocker, so that's something we're keeping an eye on. The only other one in here currently that should have a small negative, sorry, this is stapled kind of funny, is our elementary tech hardware. And I will be transferring from another technology line to cover that once I can confer with the tech director where those should have come from. So, but other than that, everything's pretty much on track. Any other issues we've had with staffing or anything we've covered. So does anyone have any questions on the financial report right now? All right, so that's the expenditures. You have it summarized in the categorical report. That's fairly straightforward. We're on track with our revenues. We've received all of our January assessments from the towns at this point. The only thing that we're unsure of right now is exactly what our transportation reimbursement is going to be. They are still working through some of the end of year reports, and Jay Sullivan is on vacation but expects to get back to me next Tuesday with what our true reimbursement will be for the year. If it does come in under what we had budgeted from the governor's budget, then we will discuss that and adjust accordingly. But other than that, everything looks good.
Want to go right into the lunch report?
Are the transfers down?
There's
in a
one
different
table with
section?
two sec. This.
Okay, so they're on a different thing.
They're in section 10.
So we can talk about those later. The lunch report, our closing balance at the end of December was $17,576.76 for the current year. So we're still in the positive for this year. I have been tracking and projecting and making sure that we are in line to at least break even for the end of the year. And Rob is doing a really good job managing those food costs. And I've been breaking it up over however many months are left in the year, and we've gone down from needing to cut $2,000 a month down to about $1,600 a month for the next few months of the school year. So we continue to monitor those school lunch expenses, but everything seems to be going well, and we expect to break even or hopefully come in the black this year with the school lunch. So I'll continue to report on that at every meeting as well.
Okay, the warrants are making their way around. Is there anyone that hasn't seen them? Okay. Did you get Pat too? Because she can.
I can see it coming.
Okay. Our student reps are not here tonight. Smart of them. So Ellis sent us an update. So they wanted to let us know that Wednesday, February 13th was the last day of Special Olympics bowling. And they celebrated the end of a fun bowling season with a pizza party and awards for the athletes. February 2nd was a 5K Run with Heart in support of Boston Children's Hospital that was held by Sue Scott at Pioneer from 8 to 12. There was a great turnout from both high school students as volunteers and people in our community who participated in the race. And tomorrow, February 15th, the chorus program is holding the last Unicorn concert, which will be held in the auditorium, 7 to 8:30 p.m. February break begins Monday the 18th, and we'll return to school on the 25th. That's the student update. Okay. Do you want to skip or do you want to go on? It's up to you. Okay. Okay. David, we're going to go to you next. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Can I stand and speak? Is this okay? Can everybody hear? No?
People like you to use the mic. Yeah.
Okay. You want me to sit and use the mic?
Yeah.
Okay.
You got to kind of be really close to it for it to work.
How's that? Is that good?
Is it
Not
on?
close enough?
Now it's on.
All right, thank you
Yeah.
very much.
On now.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for putting me on the agenda tonight to talk about our criminal justice course. My name is David Lanoy. I'm Coordinator of Criminal Justice Programs at Greenfield Community College. I'm also a member of the Parent Council here at the school and have a great affinity for it. Hopefully the final 2 Lanoys will graduate in May, and so we're hopeful about that. So I want to, Madam Chairman, through you to the committee, thank you for approving this course, which is running now with 11 students, began this past semester. It's a wonderful opportunity for the students here at Pioneer to get some academic grounding in what criminal justice is as a discipline, some civic engagement opportunities, which I'll discuss in a moment, and opportunities to explore careers. And so, with that said, I also want to, Madam Chairman, through you and through the committee, to thank the superintendent for the unbelievable level of collaboration that exists not only between my department and Pioneer, but as Eve will say when she comes before you, the entire college. This idea came through Heath Cummings having a conversation with me in the parking lot about the importance of the academic atmosphere in a school and about the difficulty of being an adolescent, and we know that the path to adolescence runs right through these doors. We know that as parents, we know that as educators, and we know that as citizens of the community. And because at GCC, criminal justice programs are less about criminal and more about social justice, we thought that there would be a great opportunity to give students credit-bearing coursework that introduced them to a social-based criminal justice. And so the instructor for the course is an excellent person. His name is David Rice. He's a 20-plus year veteran of municipal policing here in the Commonwealth. He's currently a police sergeant in the town of Greenfield. He has a master's degree in criminal justice from the University of Lowell and background in political science. This is a great thing for Pioneer in my view, and it's a great thing for the kids to have an opportunity to create a pathway, whether they choose that pathway or not, to be exposed to it and to get credit for it. So we intend to do some creative civic engagement for them in the next semester. They'll visit a police station, they'll visit the county jail, they will visit the courthouse. I'll work closely with the superintendent, the principal, administrators, and teachers here so that we can give them hands-on practical experience with guest speakers and lecturers who can tell them what the theory is and tell them what the opportunities are that exist in a world that is changing. Social justice is at the forefront of what we need to be doing. We need citizens and police and court personnel and jailers who understand one another and who understand basic dignity of the human being, the dignity of life, concepts of redemption and hopefulness, and ways in which our system of social control can actually participate in that. So I can't be more excited. I'd be happy to take any questions that you may have about the course. I look forward to continuing my collaboration with your superintendent. I want to thank you for having the leadership and the foresight to hire him. It's been a great experience for me. Spending a lot of time. This is work. It's good work. And I'll just say in closing, and if you have questions, I will take them gladly. I'm a cheerleader for Pioneer. Pioneer is the legacy of my children's education. As of June, 3 of them will have graduated from this fine school in this fine district. I think this district has great potential. I think this district has opportunities to offer. And so I'm a cheerleader for GCC in collaboration with being a cheerleader for Pioneer. But first and foremost, I'm a cheerleader for the kids. It's a privilege to serve on the Parent Council. It's a privilege to be here to speak to you tonight. And then just in closing, I want to say something that's been said to me very often by your colleague and my good friend Jim Bell. Pioneer is a special place. Did I get it right? Let's keep it that way. Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you.
Sharon?
I just want to echo David's words about our superintendent. Thank you very much, John, for all the work you've done in helping get this program off the ground and also for tonight's tech program. That was wonderful. I so appreciate the efforts with that. Well, thank you very much.
Eve, can you do it by phone if I put it on speakerphone right now? Okay.
Okay, we're going to hear from the GCC president.
All right, here you go.
Okay.
All right, Eve could join us tonight by phone. She was going to be here, but wasn't unable to make it. So we'll see if this works and you can hear. Eve, you're on. And thank you for taking the time to speak with us.
Thank you so much, and I want to apologize to the board because my evening was completely freed up for this board meeting, and for some reason, my assistant thought the meeting was canceled. I don't know if other events that were scheduled for tonight didn't take place, but I sincerely apologize for not being present at this moment.
Thank you.
Oh. Are you there, Eve?
I am.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, what would you like to ask me some questions, or how would you like me to proceed?
Yeah, I guess if you maybe want to talk about the GCC and maybe the collaboration that we're doing with Pioneer and just kind of update everybody about that would be great.
Yep, certainly I can do that. First, I want to say that I met Superintendent John Schedule about, I want to say maybe 3-4 months ago, and immediately I was captivated by his vision for the district, to the point where I said to him that I definitely want to move to be in the district so that my own kids can attend Pioneer Valley. And part of what captivated me about his vision is the fact that he's looking at the entire K through 16 pipeline, and also thinking about the 21st century skills that students need to have in an era where the world is becoming increasingly globalized, where information technology is becoming very important and infused in all academic disciplines as well as career and workforce. And it's very important that we have our students begin to develop those skills, not just the technical skills, but also the soft skills, or what are called the soft skills, 21st century skills, including collaboration, communication, problem solving, and also allowing them to develop their multiple intelligences and curiosities through the arts, through interdisciplinary learning, through robotics, and working with employers to have students solve real-world problems. His approach to that, I thought, was very comprehensive and certainly in line with where Greenfield Community College is going. So we have had multiple meetings with Superintendent Schedule, also with he and myself, just the two of us, and then with the broader group of superintendents from Franklin and Hampshire counties, and then several meetings with my team, his teachers, and our faculty members to explore what that looks like. At this point, we are in the early stages of discussing having an academy that is a joint partnership between Greenfield Community College and Pioneer Valley Technical School, Pioneer Valley Regional School. And what we would like to have as part of that is to begin to have students think about completing the first 2 years of their undergraduate degree while still in high school. And to make movement on that, we are already this semester offering our Introduction to Criminal Justice program, which is a collaboration with Greenfield Community College. Those classes are taught by Greenfield Community College. That class is taught by a Greenfield Community College professor at Pioneer Valley, allowing students to begin to explore careers in criminal justice. In our conversation, we've also talked about the liberal arts and having liberal arts programs that students and courses that students can take. We are also beginning to offer the principles of emergency services at the high school. That will start in the fall, and we'll be looking at offering our full complement of honors programs for those students who are highly motivated to be able to take those courses while still in high school, with the hope of making progress towards completing the first 2 years of their undergraduate degree for those who are very motivated, and certainly those who are going at a different pace to be able to take some college level courses while still in high school. So we're excited about that, and we're also excited to offer our STEM Starter Academy. STEM, as you know, stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math. At the high school, that will be offered free of charge for students who are Pioneer Valley students. They can experience that at our college during the summer, free of charge, and we would continue the curriculum in the fall with those students and others who may be interested. So I'll pause there to take any questions, feedback, input that you might have. And since I can't see you, so I can't really gauge the facial expressions, and I'm very curious to hear your thoughts and to engage in a productive discussion this evening.
Okay, anybody have a question or a comment?
I think she pretty much covered all of it. Thank you very much.
All right, I think you did a great job Eve explaining things, and no questions at this point, but thanks for taking the time to speak with us.
My pleasure, and again, I apologize for not being there in person.
Oh, no worries. All right, thank you so much. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, bye now.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, quiet. It was a mistake.
Jeannie pocket dialed her husband.
All right, our next appearance is Nick Stevens from Coca-Cola.
You sure?
Hi, Nick.
Do this right. You guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Awesome.
Nicely done.
Well, thank you very much. My name is Nick Stevens. I'm the sales manager at Coca-Cola over in Greenfield, Massachusetts. Well, Greenfield, right down the road. You guys know that. I actually live in Gill, right down the road here. John approached me, I don't know, back in October about helping with the robotics program in any way that we possibly could, and it really intrigued me. So I met with John. Schedule and John Heffernan probably back in November-ish or so, and we talked about some ideas of how Coca-Cola could give back. Our job market has changed a lot over the years, and we have to really think differently about how we give back to the community and how we can help to invest in how kids think. We have a lot of younger kids that come and work for our organization, and the biggest challenge that we have is critical thinking. And this was an awesome opportunity for us to invest with the robotics program, and it meant a lot for us to be able to give back, and I really appreciate the opportunity. It was something unique where we could provide a benefit to the school, to Pioneer. Again, I'm a local person. I live here. I have 18 years with Coca-Cola, going on 19, and if I can give back locally, that's exactly what we want to do. So it's a unique and different idea that we've never actually had at all ever in any with any school or anything, and John presented that very, very eloquently, and to me it gives us an opportunity to invest in our kids and give back to them in any way we can. So but if you guys had any questions on the program and how we gave back at all, I'll take anything.
Sharon.
I just want to say thank you very much.
Yep.
Did you see any of the projects that are alive and well?
I did. This is great, and I
Isn't
thought
it
this was
wonderful?
awesome. I actually wish I had brought my kids. I just came from work, so I couldn't grab them. Like I said, I'm 5 minutes down the road, literally. So, different district, obviously, but we're certainly thinking about Pioneer based on this. So
Thank you
this
very
is
much.
awesome. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. No problem. No problem. Okay. Questions?
Can you just say something about the critical thinking piece about employing people?
Sure, yeah. I mean, we have one of the challenges we face, we see, I'm a I started, right out of high school with the organization. I got a little bit of education as well, but, I started filling shelves and, got my driver's license, and then I worked my way through and up. And what we see now is that, kids, come into the job market, and we're trying to develop, a lot of sales folks too, and that's the key. Is it's not so much about selling something to somebody, it's about providing a benefit to somebody, right? How can I align with their needs? And the critical thinking piece of the robotics side is I find very intriguing, and that's what I was so engaged with, because it's trying to get kids to think different about how to solve a problem, how to get through something, and that's one of the challenges we face is finding those talented individuals. So if we can give back to the community and help invest in that now, it's not only good for our business and any business out there, but it's the right thing to do, right? If we can get kids to think different, then that's what it's all about.
All right,
For
great,
sure.
thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Anyone else? All right, thank you so much,
Thank you,
Nick,
guys.
and thanks for
Appreciate it.
investing in us.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah. All right, Ariel, number 5.
Good evening, everyone. Hi. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, good. Hello, I'm Ariel LaRoe. Many of you already know me. I'm president of the PVREA, the Pioneer Valley Regional Education Association, and I'm here on behalf of the members tonight to talk about a couple of the things that I think you, the school committee, and we have in common. So thank you for the opportunity to address you tonight. All right, first, and this is something that you've probably already heard about in our community. It's something that's going on. We're not late to the game, but we're just getting to it. It's kind of exciting. So first, let me ask you, do you all agree that we all want what is best for students?
Yes.
Yes. Do you agree that too much of the burden for funding schools is put on the towns through rising property taxes?
Yes.
Yes. Right. Do you agree that the state needs to put in more of its fair share of making this Commonwealth the best in the country for educating America's youth?
Yes.
Yes. Excellent. Good. A+. All right. We then would like to invite you to join us, the PVREA, in adopting a resolution to send a clear message to the state legislature to pass a bill that would update the formula used to calculate the Commonwealth's education budget. You might have heard of this already. GCC has done a forum. There's a forum done in Orange recently. Yes, the Fund Our Future. So in 2015, for those of you that don't know, a bipartisan commission determined that Massachusetts public schools are underfunded by $51 billion annually because the formula used to calculate state aid to schools has not been properly revised or updated since 1993. In that time, a lot has changed, and a lot has changed in our rural district and other rural districts around us, as well as the rest of the state. The Massachusetts Budget and Policy Center calculated what districts would receive if the formula used to determine Chapter 70 aid to schools using recommendations of the commission that studied school funding were brought up to date. And based on those figures, the PVRSD would receive an additional $164,350 annually. The so-called foundation and promise budgets were fully funded. So now overall, that's not a huge amount of money, but for us, $164,000, I'd be happy to get a check for that today for us here, personally, although I take it personally too. So imagine, of course, what we could do with $164,000 more. If the foundation budget were fully funded, we might be able to reduce class sizes. We could bolster social and emotional support for students in our schools. We could expand our district programming. We could fund more professional development supporting 21st century teaching and learning. We could offer our teachers a cost of living wage increase. Maybe we might even avert closing a community school. So we all want more funding to support the education of the children in this district. We have survived the bad. It is time to believe in better. Well, with a little imagination and innovation, which I am hopeful for, based on the initiatives being introduced by Superintendent Schedule, PVRSD can and will be a model for the future rather than a casualty of the past. However, I should say that I'm quite intrigued by the GCC collaborations, and as president of the Association of Teachers, I am quite vigilant to make sure that we are including retaining quality educators as part of our collaborations with outside forces. Just want to make that clear. But we must use every opportunity we have to feed and nourish the vision of how great this district can be. And collaborating with community businesses and the community college, I think, are great. So this resolution and legislation is an opportunity. So I ask you, in concert with the PVREA, please send a message to the community that you are committed to actively working to get this district what it needs to be the best it can be. Will you, I'm asking you, vote now to adopt a resolution and to write a letter to our state legislators? I have envelopes that even have postage on them for you, asking them to pass the bill to update the Chapter 70 funding formula.
Thank you, Ariel.
Good.
Yes.
If anyone wants more information on it, I'll leave more very.
Don't go anywhere.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, does anybody have questions for Ariel or want to add anything? Karen?
No, but I have a comment. I attended that forum in Orange a few weeks back, as did some people who are in the audience here today. And I think it worth noting that in our Constitution, adopted, our stated Constitution adopted in 1778 and written by John Adams, the words, "It shall be the duty of legislatures and magistrates in all future periods of this Commonwealth to cherish the interests of literature and the sciences and all of the seminaries of them, especially the University at Cambridge, public schools, and grammar schools in all the towns."
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing that.
They were pretty smart, weren't they?
They were.
So, given the challenges that we've had trying to maintain our programs with the funds that we have and the expenses that we have, this is sort of a no-brainer for us. So, I have written up this little document that is related to this resolution. I'll read it, and it has my signature on it. If other people would like to sign it, we could have this be our group letter. Robin, do you want to speak before I read it?
I just wanted to just be clear. Ariel, I believe you had suggested that the committee hold a vote this evening, and I'm not sure because of the way the agenda is written that we could vote on this matter
Yes,
today.
maybe I'm incorrect in.
No, and I'm not. I don't want to be mean about it. I just because it was an appearance and it's not posted as a vote. I don't think we can vote as a committee tonight.
That's my mistake. I just would like you to discuss and see if you
I
can agree.
Embrace it.
Yeah. So what I am prepared for is this resolution that I have signed, and if you'd like to sign on, you can sign, and we can send it in as a group. I'll just read it. It says, "Resolution in support of increased funding for Massachusetts public schools through the Promise Act. Whereas free public schools available to all students without exception are foundational to our democracy and are required by the state constitution. And whereas all of our students, no matter where they live, deserve high-quality public schools that teach the whole child and provide them with a well-rounded school experience that addresses their academic, social, and emotional needs. And whereas the state's foundation budget formula, which determines state aid to each district, has been woefully out of date for years, thereby underfunding our districts by more than $1 billion a year for essential educational services. And whereas the Promise Act would phase in an updated foundation budget formula, bringing the Pioneer Valley Regional School District an estimated $164,350 in additional state aid, and whereas the legislature failed to pass any foundation budget legislation in the last session, leaving districts, educators, and students without the funds necessary to support the schools our students deserve. Therefore, be it resolved that the Pioneer Valley Regional School Committee urges the legislature to approve the Promise Act by May 1st, 2019. And it's signed by me, but I'm happy to pass it around. Pass it around.
pass it
Okay.
around.
Thank you, Ariel, for bringing this to
Yeah,
our
thank you, Ariel.
Jeannie?
Thank you.
And now, did I see 2 envelopes there, Ariel?
Oh, well, there are, I actually have on the back of the handout I have, there are 5 legislators, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you did a group letter, you then just photocopy it.
Just photocopy,
and
that's
send
what I
it to
wanted
each
to
of the legislators.
That'd
be great.
Thanks, Jeannie, for checking that out.
Thank you.
That's good. Thank you.
And I'll leave the handouts as well as the envelopes. Thanks very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Happy
Thank
Valentine's Day.
From our principals and administrators.
Hello.
Hi, Megan.
Hello.
Happy Valentine's Day. So today we had an all-school meeting, as we do each month, and I just wanted to share very briefly some of the sharings that occurred today. We had our second grade who shared their survey results. They've been doing some data and surveying and then making conclusions, drawing conclusions about their surveys. And so they shared their results, each student individually. We had our kindergarten put together a video in different segments, which was adorable, and it was about how to be a good friend. And we had a couple directors in the class, so they spoke briefly about their video, and then we watched the video in our whole school meeting. We had our 1st and 3rd grade buddy class that created an Inspire acrostic poem and wrote thank you. So the Inspire was sort of a thank you to the teachers, and they wrote thank you cards to all of the adults in the school that we all received today. And our 6th grade just made an announcement. They are working on a kindness project, and there are baskets delivered into all of the classrooms that with hearts that they can write any acts of kindness that they notice, receive, express, or inspirational thoughts and ideas. These were all generated not because we set out a theme to do, but I guess love is in the air this month. And then I also just wanted to share that at Northfield Elementary School, we started a brand new big endeavor with a new drop-off and pickup procedure, which involves families coming into the parking lot to drop off in the morning and to pick up in the afternoon, which has alleviated some minor as well as big safety concerns that exist out in the front of the building, which is very narrow and tight. So we are on, today was the, what's today? So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So we had our first day with a early release, our second day with a late start, and today was a normal day. All went well, and we'll be ready to fly for a full week after vacation.
Wonderful.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Things are well in Warwick. A couple of things I want to tell you about, just to follow up on Ariel's talk about the Fund Our Future. 2 of the leaders of this endeavor in our area, Max and Mary, and I wish I could tell you their last names, but I can't, are coming to spend several hours at Warwick. They were coming on the 28th of February. They are interested in Warwick for the challenges that we are facing as a school that hopes to continue, and a school that is doing fine educational work. So I will let you know if you're interested to come and talk to them. They will be spending time out at Warwick. They were coming on the 28th, and the reason that they're not coming on the 28th is that is the new Rural Schools Day, and all children and teachers and principal are going to Boston to the State House to talk with Joe Comerford and Susanna Whips and Paul Marks about rural schools and our very particular strengths and needs. The children have been studying civics. They have written 3 to 5 paragraph essays and letters, which they are going to present to their representatives as they participate in this day. They will be touring the State House. We are going on a bus that has been funded by very generous contributions from our town, matched by our church in Warwick. So we're feeling very empowered, and it's dear to my heart to watch the children step forward and find their voice and talk about something that is authentic to them, an authentic concern. Apart from that, we've recently finished our data team meetings. Again, I see very strong gains, especially in literacy. I feel so proud. And our 3rd and 4th graders went to the Benesky Museum today, which is at Amherst College, to see natural history, especially dinosaur bones and footprints, all those wonderful things. So, okay.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Good evening, everyone. You heard about some of the events that are coming up in our school through our student report. In addition, I just wanted to, since the last time I saw you, our first semester has ended, our second semester has begun. One of the things that was a great product of our first semester was when our shop teacher left, Mr. Mortensen, who's one of our special education teachers who has wonderful woodworking skills, stepped in to teach some of our advanced shop students. And they produced these wonderful shaker tables. And I was talking to one of the students the other day about all the woodworking techniques that he learned and what a rewarding experience it was. So I would invite you all to walk down to the art room. They're on display outside the art room, and they're really beautiful.
They're stunning.
And I wanted to acknowledge the students' work and Mr. Mortensen's work in leading them through that really extensive project. It's really something incredibly impressive. The other thing that we have coming up is an exchange program with students from Spain. It was an opportunity that I was contacted about in August, and I passed it along to Emily Beeman, and she really took the ball and ran with it. So our students are leaving tomorrow for 10 days in Spain. They'll be attending a high school near Elba. It's in Costa something, the actual town where the high school is. But they'll be attending school and doing some regional visits with their host families and their students that they're staying with. And then at the beginning of March, 12 students and 2 teachers from the school in Spain will be coming to spend a week with us here at Pioneer. We're going to take them skiing and expose them to what education is like here in the United States. So we're really excited about that opportunity. I think it's really important for our students to sort of expand beyond the walls here and have these kinds of experiences. So I wanted to thank Emily and the students and the teachers in Spain for working together to make this happen.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I remember when you made that presentation.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah. Thank you, Jean. Yeah, those tables, I thought maybe a visiting, woodworker had stopped in and dropped off stuff to display for the students. They are so spectacular. Yeah.
I wanted to know if I could buy them.
I know. Yeah. We could do a fundraiser, right? Okay. All right. There we go.
Who knew we had that talent right here, huh?
Unbelievable. Yeah.
Amazing.
All right. I'm going to hand over the mic.
Hi, everyone. Excuse me for my voice. I'm still getting over a cold that's lasted a month. I wanted to talk tonight, kind of I call it the State of the Union, where we've been as a district, where we are, and where we're going. Pioneer Valley Regional School District has gone through very challenging times over the past several years. The educational landscape of the Pioneer Valley Regional School District is comprised of 4 elementary schools and 1 7 through 12 middle and high schools, servicing 754 students, primarily from the towns of Leiden, Bernardston-Northfield, and Warwick. 151 of those students are provided with special education services. The region is economically challenged and has seen a general decline in population. Over the past decade, the Pioneer Valley Regional School District has declined by 288 students in grades K through 12. School choice numbers are down, and has been a challenge to retain students amidst cuts to staff and programming, resulting in low morale and a culture of instability and uncertainty. Sources of revenue have been stagnant in the past decade since the closure of the Vermont Yankee Power Plant, from where we once received a number of tuition students. I believe at its height it was around 45 students. Currently, the district is in the process of deficit borrowing in the amount of $453,274, which will have to be paid back over the next 5 to 10 years. We also have a financial overseer assigned by the Department of Education to help us monitor our current fiscal management and to ensure the district's sustainability. The current situation the district finds itself in is due to fiscal mismanagement of prior administrations. The current administration and school committee have been working diligently and collaboratively to monitor the district's financial operations. As a superintendent, I am responsible, along with the school committee members, for making difficult decisions necessary to control costs, while at the same time provide a robust academic program for all students pre-K through 12. Amidst the financial concerns, the Pioneer Valley Regional School District continues to provide an extremely high quality of education to all of our students. Our administrators, teachers, and staff believe in a quality and comprehensive education for all students. Every day I am moved and inspired by what I see. I marvel at the incredible devotion of our staff and their unique ability to teach and inspire our children. And I celebrate the amazing support of our parents and community. I believe that helping children succeed is one of the most important things any of us can do. That is why I am so grateful to all employees in our district. They dedicate their lives to serving our children. They take each child's success personally. They spend hours before and after school doing the extra things that few people see but make all the difference for the children they teach and serve. I see and feel their passion when I visit classrooms and schools, which I'm hoping to do more of in the spring when things settle down here. I see the joy in their faces of our children, and I hear gratitude from parents who appreciate the difference our staff members make for their children. The strength of the Pioneer Valley Regional School District lies in the people we employ and the people we serve. Pioneer is known not only for its academic excellence and extracurricular programs, but also for the positive and healthy relationships among students, staff, and families. Since being here, I've observed firsthand the tradition of excellence that exists in our schools, and this I know is due to the dedication, hard work, and passion of our students, families, teachers, staff, school committee, and wonderful people of our community that care so deeply about our schools. I'm going to paraphrase a little bit. This next paragraph on the top of page 2, there's handouts there if you need them, talks about the success of our schools with some data and some very interesting points. Pioneer did extremely well in this last, on the accountability ratings. We were second in Franklin County only to Four Rivers Charter School. So our schools are among the best in this area. All schools in our districts are educationally strong. And the last accountability report put out by the state in 2016 listed Warwick Community, Northfield Elementary, and Bernardston Elementary as level 1 schools, and Pearl Roads as level 2. One important goal this year, and it's been a focus of mine in everything I do, has been restoring respect and pride in our district. It has been about our district healing from within, correcting past mistakes, thinking creatively and responsibly, moving forward and pioneering into the future to not only make our district strong again, but to make our district a model for others to admire. We are looking at creating ongoing streams of revenue, forming new partnerships with local businesses, creating new and exciting courses for our students, pre-K through 12. You saw some of that on display tonight. And working collaboratively with Greenfield Community College to add innovative programming, which is unique to the Franklin County region. We're trying to do things that have never been done, and we're off to a great start. These recent partnerships and collaborations between local businesses and Greenfield Community College will offer new opportunities and greater educational outcomes to students, which will retain and attract students to our district. One such innovation is the funding of a new pre-K through 12 technology vision that will get us up to current standards in regards to audiovisual networks, devices, including iPads, Chromebooks, 3D printers, robotics, and a modern infrastructure. Just this year, we have gone from a 4-to-1 student-to-computer ratio to a 2-to-1 student-to-computer ratio. Our hope is that next year will be a 1-to-1 district. Another technology-based initiative is our Makerspace and proposed Innovation Center at the Pioneer Valley Regional School in connection with GCC. The Innovation Center's goals are to create the inventors, designers, and engineers of the future using design thinking and 21st century skills of collaboration, innovation, and communication. Nick Stevens from Koch talked a little bit about why that's important to local businesses, and we thank you for your help in putting this together. In order to help fund our technology vision, we are reaching out and partnering with local businesses. For example, the Koch Coca-Cola has offered to partner with us by sponsoring a tech and robotics program, which includes a sponsorship of $4,500, along with an additional $8,000 to $10,000 that will go back into the lunch program based on projected sales from vending machines provided by the company. In addition, rebates will be earned on water and seltzer sales in the schools that will go back to the tech and robotics program. Based on projections, this could be another $5,000 per year with no limit to potential earnings. Greenfield Savings Bank also made a very generous donation to our technology program. John Howland, the president of the bank, was here for about an hour earlier tonight, as they understand the importance of providing students with these 21st century skills at a very young age, so they can be exposed to and learn essential skills that will help them throughout their educational career and in the world of work. Both Coca-Cola and Greenfield Savings are interested in working with our district on robotic projects by providing some real-life workplace situations or obstacles that students can help with. I know we have students that are working with Coke now on a challenge they gave to our students, and so that's going to be something that we'll look forward to. The idea is for them to create prototypes and then go visit Coca-Cola and their executives and pitch those prototypes to them. So we're really excited about that. Other local businesses investing in our schools are East Hampton Savings Bank, who provided a donation for the B-Bots, and First Light Power, to which we are extremely grateful. Additionally, we're working with the Collaborative for Educational Services, and there's some information that should be attached to the packet I handed out about 2 new programs. The first is the Passages Therapeutic Classroom, ages 4 to 7. That will be located in Northfield Elementary School. The program will be owned by the district, and the collaborative will provide the therapeutic component, outside and community resource development, professional development, and oversight of staff is determined with the local school district. The second program is the Passages Transition and Reentry Program for students in grades 7 through 12 who are going to or returning from outside placements, or for those who need to be outside the conventional school environment for a determined period of time. The program would be located at Pioneer, owned by the district and supported through the collaborative. These 2 programs combined are projected to bring in between $150,000 and $360,000 annually, depending on enrollment. Lastly, our district is working to achieve our objective of retaining and attracting more students by partnering with GCC on a new early college program. That's, as Eve talked about, students earning enough college credit in high school to graduate with a high school diploma as well as an associate's degree. Leah Fees was one student who's doing that this year. She's a senior this year. She's graduating with an associate's degree the same time she's earning a high school degree. And we're working on new dual enrollment and certification courses, such as the criminal justice course that Dave Lanois has been so graciously just come forward and put an extreme amount of time into making this program happen, and I can't be thankful enough to him and GCC for all he's done. So we're looking to add a new certified nursing assistant program, a new fire services technology course as well next year, new health and medical sciences program, giving students a pathway to the ever-growing health and medical field. The Pioneer Valley Regional School District provides a host of opportunities for students to participate in Special Olympics in the elementary schools, theater, band, arts, clubs, sports, and after-school programs. These programs are essential to a high-functioning school district. I'm encouraged by recent conversations with Vernon Elementary School and Irving Elementary School. I visited Irving the other day. These 2 distinguished and very impressive schools can see that our district is moving in a positive direction, thinking outside the box, and being creative and offering some exciting courses and opportunities that align with the mission and vision of their schools. I look forward to students from these wonderful schools coming to Pioneer to be a part of our rich tradition and forward-thinking educational mindset. By building partnerships within the community, the district schools become a more well-known presence in the region in providing and connecting students and citizens with a variety of opportunities and experiences that will enrich the community as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd say thank you, John.
What did you say?
I said I'd say thank you, John.
Yes, thank you very much.
That's a hard act to follow. I don't have a really nice typed out presentation, but as most of you know in this room, we have been working really hard with the budget subcommittee to put together a budget to serve our students for the next year. We are continuously working to get that to a point to present to the school committee. We have moved our schedule up a little bit due to the weather and things. So our previously scheduled public forum that was the 26th will be when the budget subcommittee presents to the full school committee, and then we will have our public hearing the 28th and vote the actual budget the following week in time to have the assessments to the town by March 15th. We have provided the towns with what their percentage of that assessment will be for next year. The 5-year average calculation has been done and issued out to the towns. So they have that in advance and can plan a little bit. I don't know when that's been provided in the past, but we're trying to help the towns plan ahead of time for what may come. John and I are going to be visiting the State House this coming Wednesday, February 20th, along with the overseer, to be in front of the Municipal Finance Oversight Board in requesting our qualified state bond for the $453,274. They will discuss with us things like how the deficit occurred, what the district's currently doing financially with its monitoring to prevent this from happening again, and just what our forward thinking and looking is in our financial situation. So we'll be doing that on Wednesday, hoping to get that financing. We're working with Unibank, and they're hoping to get that done as fast as possible for us after the Municipal Finance Oversight Board votes on that. So we'll keep you posted on those happenings, and we will be meeting again next week with the budget subcommittee on the 21st. That meeting will be posted as John and I have been meeting, and he will be meeting with the administration and speaking with them as well, looking at some efficiencies before we present this budget to the school committee on the 26th.
Thank you, Tanya.
Jeff?
Is the February 20th meeting a public meeting?
20th or 21st?
The 20th at Boston?
Yeah.
Well, it's not a public hearing, but it's a public hearing.
So anyone can attend, but the only 3 people that have been requested to attend that will be able to speak at the meeting are myself, John, and the overseer. So anybody can attend and listen. I will say we've been advised that it will probably only last 15 to 20 minutes. So if you're really motivated to drive in Boston and find and pay for parking for that, by all means, we would invite you to be in the audience. But we have provided a slew of information to not only Unibank, but we have had to go through I've worked very closely with Lori to get all the information, certified sealed documents to them, as well as Lock and Lord, who is our bond counsel that will then provide the information to DOR. So it's been a very intense process to just get to the Municipal Finance Oversight Board, and then a legal opinion has to be made to DOR for them to finalize the borrowing. So the process won't be over on Wednesday, but we're hoping within a week after the meeting that we'll get the state's okay to move forward, and that they'll issue us the qualified state bond. And what that means, a qualified state bond, just very briefly, is that we won't actually physically make a check payment. They will just deduct it from our monthly Chapter 70 that comes in. So it'll be an automatic payment, and it's guaranteed, which allows us hopefully a lower interest rate. So we are waiting to make sure that we'll be able to capture that 3% interest rate. And we think we will know that before we present the budget for a vote to this final school committee vote. So hopefully we'll be able to capture a little bit of savings with that.
Jeannie?
Tanya, did you say there's a meeting of the budget subcommittee on the 21st?
Yes,
And
and
what time is that meeting?
it'll be posted tomorrow, but it's going to be at 4:30.
Okay. I just want to mention someone who couldn't appear tonight. That was David Young. We're missing him. There's a card here that I'll circulate around, and we'll send it off to him. He's healing. We're going to move on to the subcommittee reports. I'll just read the name of the subcommittee, and if the chair has a report, you can just speak for your committee. Negotiations subcommittee.
Nothing new since last time. We meet again on the 26th at 4. But that's executive session.
Building and grounds. We have the capital projects that were brought to our attention are for PVRS, $24,000 for a Wi-Fi project, and PVRS $8,000 for carpet replacement in rooms 111, 206, and 207. Also want to bring to attention that the Northfield Energy Community and the Warwick Building and Energy Committee gave us a report of what the grants have done for this district. And it's unbelievable, actually. I'll just read quickly what they have done. $99,000 for insulation of attics in Northfield Elementary. $28,177 for Northfield Elementary doors and windows. Destratification fans, $1,891. PVRS. PVRS weatherization, $99,965. Transformers, $35,860. Motors and drives, $18,658. Destratification fans, $5,563. Warwick Community School, weatherization, $99,897. Motors and drives, $6,329. And HVAC upgrades, $48,500. This is unbelievable, these grants that have come to this district and given us all these projects.
Can I just note, because Sharon didn't, that the cost savings that we're realizing in terms of electrical savings and heating and things of that nature amount to about $80,000 a year.
Yeah. So my word, we are blessed, I'd say.
Also, I think we need to vote on those capital projects. So the capital projects will be voted on by the school committee when we vote on the budget to present to the towns along with the assessment letter. I don't know if that's how it's been done in the past, but I think that would be how that's projected. And just a little note too on the $24,000 Wi-Fi project, that is only 40% of the project cost. The other 60% is funded through E-rate, and our technology director right now is actually working with Christine, I can't remember her last name, but there is a program to the state that could actually also help us offset the portion of our Wi-Fi that we pay for after the E-rate, so we should have an update on that soon as well.
Right. I also wanted to say a little bit something about the solar panels engineers from SunPower that went up on the roof and inspected it again, and he was even in conversation with Titan Roofing, who was the person that has done our roof for years, and both have concluded that the roof can handle the amount of solar panels that have been suggested. But they're also looking into perhaps expanding the amount to also help offset the costs for Northfield Elementary. So we're still in the midst of looking at more things, and but the roof can handle those for that project.
Okay, good. Okay, curriculum and personnel. We met January 22nd, again with the stakeholders for a second time, to discuss a memorandum of understanding for and the school resource officer position. Those stakeholders included chiefs of police from all 4 towns or their representatives, state police, sheriff's office representatives, and Assistant District Attorney Elizabeth Mulcahy. During a lively discussion, ADA Mulcahy requested time to look over the portions of the draft we had put together, especially those pertaining to some issues for regional school districts. But because our committee had voted earlier to fill the position on an interim basis, and because recent state legislation severely limits interventions by a school resource officer, the superintendent then explored several options for filling the position as soon as possible. This will give us the time we need to make well-informed decisions about the memorandum of understanding and a job description going forward. So we plan to bring you our plan for the remainder of the year, either this month at the special meeting on the 26th or the meeting on March 14th.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as the budget subcommittee meetings have been going, been meeting every week. I'd like to thank Tanya and John for providing up-to-date numbers as they come in. It's been a long, grueling process. We're looking forward to next week to looking at making efficiencies, and that's when the tough work's really going to start. So bear with us when we make these efficiency proposals, and then we'll decide what we're going to do. Thank you.
So Kristen is the head of our policy subcommittee, and she is traveling, so we'll get a report from her at another time. Sorry, am I not coming through? Tyler?
Here.
All right, that's better. Okay. So I wanted to give people a quick update on the Heart Committee. The Heart Committee has made its way through the district agreement and is the consultants that have been working with the committee are doing some final edits. It has been vetted at certain points in the process by the Department of Ed already. What we're looking for next is some planned time for the school committee and the Heart Committee to go through the document together, because ultimately the school committee needs to vote on the changes to the district agreement and send it to the towns for approval at town meeting. So, Jess, I couldn't be at the meeting. I don't know if anyone at the meeting discussed possible dates to sit down with the school committee.
We didn't go back to dates with the school committee. We have one more Heart meeting on the 20th, next Wednesday.
February.
Yep,
Mm-hmm.
February, sorry.
Yep.
Bob, any memory?
So Julia
date?
Blythe and I had
Can I ask
talked
for a
about
date?
March 6th and March
Yeah,
20th,
I think
and I
we're still on
know
March
the
6th.
consultant's not available on the
Yes.
6th. Did you guys talk about the potential for the 20th? Okay.
Next week.
Okay. So,
I thought we were on the 6th in my memory of it.
that's okay. So, the district agreement has not been updated since the 1990s. So it needed a lot of updates that were just related to Mass General Law. We were actually informed many years ago now by the Department of Ed that we were out of compliance with our district agreement. So all of those updates are in there. The new and most challenging element of our new district agreement is trying to codify how the district would handle school closure, because that was not part of the district agreement prior to this. And we're trying to build a district agreement that is flexible enough so that if the district has to change and flex over time to stay strong, we are not back in a full-blown amendment process. So it's been very challenging, and the committee's worked very hard. Tom?
Yeah, hopefully after the meeting on the 20th, the Heart Committee will have something to share with the school committee so that they can look at it before there's a meeting. It's a long document.
Yeah, I shared the most recent, before last night's meeting, the most recent document with the committee. It's a good idea to start just looking at it and getting familiar with it, because it's long. And kind of complicated.
Yeah.
I did provide information to Matt today on I provided information today to Mac Reed, who's a gentleman who's putting this together in regards to the meeting last night regarding non-personnel costs for the school. So he has put some language together for that for you guys for next week to hopefully finalize that also.
Thank you, Tanya. I also wanted to give the committee an update on the Gil Montague Steering Committee that I'm on. The school committee in November of 2017 signed on to a grant with the Gilmontague School District to explore efficiencies between our two districts. So as part of that grant, that's where our sort of 5-year baseline projection came from. That grant paid for the 5-year projection. The other thing that it did was pay for our enrollment projection study through NESDEC. What's been happening since then is that the consultants that have been working with Gilmontague have been presenting to the Gilmontague School Committee and to the Civic Leaders Group on the analysis that they've done and their recommendations. They will be with us in March to give us an update on that grant. One of the things that they're doing as a final element of that grant is sort of a rough financial estimate of would there be cost savings in a combined district or not. So none of this is saying that we're going to do anything. It's more the state is providing resources for districts to explore ways that sharing or collaborating might help, because we're all struggling financially. So that's the Gilmontague Steering Committee update, and we'll get a full update with the consultants in March. Robin?
Just, I was just thinking of this just for clarity's sake on our agenda. I'm wondering whether committees that aren't subcommittees of the school committee should be in some other section on the agenda.
Sure.
Just because it's muddies things.
Got it.
Thank you.
Jess?
Do you know if we can contact the consultants about questions that we might want to bring up during that meeting when they come ahead of time, like we did with our grant with the Heart Committee? You know, if we can email them
about
questions.
The Heart Committee District Agreement conversation? Oh, the Gilmontague one?
If they're going to come here to talk with us, if we can make thoughtful questions to them ahead of time.
There's a lot of information that has already been presented in other forums. So if people have already heard the presentation, they might have further questions. The consultants are very open to feedback and collaboration. So, I mean, if you have questions, you could pass them to me and I'll pass them forward. Might be hard for people that haven't really looked into the grant much yet. I did provide the committee with the original RFP for the grant, which if you scroll down through the technical beginnings of that RFP, does give you the scope of the grant, sort of what they were asked to actually do.
So the next step in this is using some more of Gilmontague's funds to kind of finish what Sue was talking about. Joanne from Gilmontague, their business manager, has reached out, and Rob O'Donnell is actually putting a combined foundation budget would look like together for the school districts. That is quite complicated because we are a minimum aid district, and Gilmontague just in this new fiscal budget became a non-minimum aid. They actually got an extra $223,000 this year in Chapter 70 based on the small changes that were made to the foundation budget calculation. It hasn't been fully implemented, but certain things were. So that is one of the things they're looking at, and we're also, I'm in the next few days going to be putting together staffing information, salaries, that kind of information, and sending that to Gilmontague, as well as Steve Hemmon, who is doing that for us. So they're trying to put numbers together, and I think they would present them in advance so that you could ask those questions before the meeting.
Great. Thank you.
Okay. That's it for subcommittees? All right. And then our committees that are not subcommittees. Old business. We have a nice pile of old business. The first one is vote on increasing nurse substitute rate to $25 an hour. Okay. So Tanya's going to read a letter from our nurse leader.
So the request for the increase actually came from Suzanne Linden regarding the inability to find qualified per diem substitute nurses. In an email on the 12th, she wrote to me to present to the school committee. She says, I am writing to request that our district increase the per diem nurse rate from $20 an hour to $25 an hour. This would make us more competitive. I have been hearing from the nurses that they feel our rate of pay is too low and they are going to other districts. An informal survey of area districts showed that 35 out of 45 were paying more than $20 per hour. The per diem nurse must have a nursing license as well as working knowledge of school-age children and adolescent health issues. Currently, we only have 2 nurses on our per diem list, and this leaves us vulnerable. In the event that we are unable to cover a school nurse absence, or when a per diem nurse is needed to provide health services for a student when on a field trip, an agency nurse may be hired, but at a much higher rate of pay. There is also a concern that field trips may need to be canceled due to the current situation. Please let me know if you have any additional questions or need additional information. Thank you for considering this request.
Sharon, I have a comment. Yeah, it's time, I think, that we raise that to $25 an hour. But I will say that if we have to hire an agency nurse, it's probably going to cost us almost twice as much as a regular nurse, substitute nurse. So $25 is an hour is actually pretty cheap. Because I think it's, I don't know, $175, $200 a day for an agency nurse. So I would recommend it. Matter of fact, I'll make a motion.
Well, Jess wanted to comment.
Oh.
I actually wonder where we got the $25 number from.
So Suzanne and myself actually looked at what the surrounding districts were paying, and the average was actually 28. So the 25 makes us a little more competitive, not necessarily at the top of the scale, but 25 to 28 was where most of the districts are paying right now.
All right, you want to make a motion?
There's
Jeannie?
already a motion.
Well,
She mentioned it, but she didn't say anything. She waited for Jess, yeah.
Okay.
Jeannie?
Sorry.
Are these experienced nurses that you're looking for? Or nurses that have just obtained their diplomas?
Per her letter, they have to be experienced and qualified. So I don't know, there has to be a job description out there for the per diem nurse, and I don't have that in front of me.
Do your nurses have a job description?
yes.
Go ahead.
So I'd like to make a motion that we go ahead and approve this $25 an hour rate for the substitute nurses.
I'll second it.
Discussion? Robbie?
I just know that in the past, the general substitute line has been a huge issue. How would this rate change affect the nurse substitute line? Or is it the same line? Because I know we've gone over on the substitute line regularly in the past.
So that line is the same, and we have adequately funded that this year as well as moving into next year. Prior years have not been funded properly, and we also implemented a district-wide long-term substitute line this year, which has been part of the cause of the substitute lines going over in the past for unexpected long-term sub outings.
Okay. So, no more discussion?
Motion and second, yeah.
Yep. So all those in favor of raising the sub rate to $25 an hour, please raise your hands. Looks like it's unanimous. Thank you. Okay, new business. Transportation booth. There's a form in here that looks like this.
So you have a form in your packet that says bid form. Franklin County Tech, Gil Montague, ourselves, Greenfield, and Irving were the 5 districts or school unions, because Irving is actually a school union, that were involved in this bid that we went out with collaboratively. We've been working on this probably since I started, maybe August. Russ from Franklin County Tech was gracious enough to spearhead creating the document, running it by council, and so forth. The bidders came to a meeting on January 11th to ask questions, concerns, etc. We did a couple addendums to that in regards to the cost of living increase versus doing fuel escalation and de-escalation charges. And we currently pay $353 per bus per day. Typically, the tiers are different priced, but this bid is coming in at $393 per bus per day. The reason for the jump in cost is because in the past we have had fuel escalation and de-escalation charges, as well as a CPI, which is much lower than a COLA. Going into our new contract, we would have a 2.5% increase per year, no CPI or de-escalation or escalation of fuel, which would then allow us, after this 5-year contract, if we went with the same contract of the following 5 years, to have a smaller jump in cost in that new contract for the first year, because it levels out the funding for the bus companies, because their fixed costs don't change, and those escalations and de-escalations can really put them in a bad spot sometimes. So there was a lot of vetting of this contract and bid that went out. We did get 2 bids, and Kosmeskis was the winning bid.
Thank you.
Jess?
Are the bus routes costs impacted by student number on the bus? If that varies? I don't think it is.
So you're asking if the cost of the bus is impacted by the number of students on the bus? No.
No part of the bid?
No.
Good.
So when we went for this bid, we had to provide, which obviously Kosmeskis has anyways, but part of us going out for bid was we provided the number of bus, the number of live miles, and all those types of things that we have. And by going in collaboratively, every district will pay the same cost. So there is language in the bid that if we increase our miles or decrease more than 10%, there would be an adjustment in cost to the district. So that would be advantageous to us if we had shorter routes, etc. There is also a clause in the district, if we were to cancel a bus in the middle of the year, we would pay 100% of the cost for the first month, and then after that, for the remaining of the year, we would pay 45% of that per daily cost, because they already have the buses. So they're, just because we want to cut a bus doesn't mean their fixed cost changes. But if we cut a bus prior to the beginning of a school year, there's no cost to the district. So as long as a decision is made before the fiscal year or the school year begins, then there would be no cost to the district in addition to what we would be paying per day per bus.
Jess?
I'm going to keep going on the bus thing.
Mhm.
So I guess I don't really know where this is in process of. I know we talked about that there would be figuring out the routes, and I guess seeing that that's the next piece of what happens with all this, or in doing this in collaboration, does this mean that we may be able to actually cut buses out of the routes that are following each other around in the towns?
So we have actually, John and the bus company have had conversations, and as of right now, there's not going to be any cutting of buses. The major concern right now, and Gil Montague actually is facing this, they cut 2 buses and they need to add one back, and they can't because drivers are in very high demand, and with what is available to pay them, we're very short on drivers, so we have to be very cautious about cutting buses. And as you will see when you get the full budget as a full school committee, when you cut a bus, your true savings are only in 1 year, because you're being reimbursed between 70 and 75%. So your savings is only then 25% of that each year going forward, minus your non-ridership. So you get the benefit in 1 year, but then your revenue decreases in years moving forward. So it's kind of a tricky thing to cut the buses, and because of the geographics of our towns, we can't have full-size buses on some of the roads in Leiden and Warwick, which is another reason we can't cut buses in those towns.
Are we really getting reimbursed that amount?
Yes.
Okay.
And it actually, so it works out to be about 67% when you take our
Okay.
less than a mile and a half ridership into consideration. And that is something that John and I kind of want to discuss further, is how many of those kids that ride that are less than a mile and a half have to really ride the bus because of the geographics and stuff. So that's something we'll be looking at as well. Because if they weren't riding the bus, then our reimbursement rate would be higher, but we have to take them into consideration, and we have to provide those reports to the state with our end of the year report with our transportation certification.
Thank you.
And just to follow up, I went and met with Kosmeskis last week about seeing if we could make some efficiencies in cutting a bus or two. But as Tanya said, it just is not possible at this time. One thing I did mention though, and that we're looking at with Kosmeskis, and they're looking at now, I provided them with information, is our special ed transportation. Right now it's done by Vanpool. It's very expensive. They're a very good company, but very expensive. So they're going to see, Kosmeskis is looking at to see if they can save us money on special ed transportation in comparison to what I've talked about before, us renting the van. So we're looking at all options as far as the busing goes. So that's.
Do you need us to vote? Can you phrase it for us?
So I need the school committee to make a motion to accept the bid from Kosmeskis so that we can sign the contract. What would happen after this is that we would produce a copy of the actual contract to the school committee chair, the superintendent, and our legal counsel, and they would then sign the contract. So we need a vote from the full school committee to accept moving forward with the bid from Kosmeskis.
I'll make a motion that we accept this bid from Kosmeskis.
Well, I had a question.
Well, can we discuss after? We just
Yeah.
finished the motion. Okay. You seconded it, Mike? Okay. Discussion?
How much was the total bid?
The total bid for all 5 schools, and this...
Oh, so we don't know what our portion is?
We do, because we have 12 buses, or 11 buses, sorry, at the $393, and that's part of our budget, which I don't have in front of me, but it was an increased cost of $79,700 and change to the district. But the full bid to all 5 districts was roughly $3 million. I think I have that full cost. So this full packet with all of their letters of recommendation and all that stuff will be made available on our website, but it is 100 pages, so if anybody does want to look at this later, they can.
Yeah, we'll all read it for them.
If anybody did want to see it, but it's just recommendations and stuff for the company.
We'll have a quiz on it next meeting.
Robin?
No, I was just back the envelope calculation. It's 11 buses at $393 a bus a day for 180 days. It's about $780,000.
Yep. Yeah, I just did it too.
This year's contract was $700,068, so it was an increase of about $79,000, so you're correct. It's $780 and change for next year.
I just have there was only one thing on the old business, but there were several things that were tabled on the last minutes, on the January minutes. So I see one of them is on the new business, but I don't see the rest of them. So the nurse one was tabled, that was item 3. Then the creating of the new student activity accounts was tabled. Okay, so it's not on the agenda. But then the voting of interest revenue and miscellaneous revenue, that was tabled. The vote to move funds was tabled.
Oh, we're gonna.
That's all student activity.
Okay, so.
Thank you for checking in on that. You've been doing a lot of agenda management.
I know, they're lengthy anyways, but I just
Yeah.
wanted to make sure
Really,
they didn't
thanks for
get
double
forgotten.
checking. Yeah, yeah. Any other questions about the transportation bid?
You still need to vote.
We do.
Yeah.
Good. All right. All those in favor of accepting this transportation bid? Unanimous. Budget transfers.
Can I just speak to
So now that you guys have voted, I will write a letter to the overseer tomorrow stating that the committee has accepted the bid, and he will then make his recommendation to the commissioner, and then the commissioner has to approve it before we can all sign it. So we will be going through that process before they're asked to sign it.
So Tanya, now we need this little sheet with the two transfers. This little tiny two transfer.
You guys are gonna be sick of hearing of me by the end of tonight.
Sharon, can you keep the card coming this way?
Are you kidding me? I'm so happy to come.
All right. So you have a sheet that says transfers for 2/14/19 school committee meeting. There is an information-only transfer section that is actually a carryover from January because the information was not provided. We needed to transfer $1,852.91 from our other available funds to the employee separation cost for a IA that put in for retirement, and that is their sick leave buyback that they are eligible for in their contract. So that does not need a vote because it's within the administration category. This is information only. That leaves that account after that transfer with a balance of $32,695.17, which if you look at your expenditure report is the balance in that particular account at this point in time. The next transfer is $1,201.80 from the teacher's salary line and Pioneer to the nurse's salary line for an additional per contract for 4 extra days that is in the nurse's contract here at the high school that was not in the original budget for FY19. So we caught that when those extra days were paid out, unfortunately, but those are the types of things as we go through this process that are, coming to light and we're capturing in our budget for next year. The 2 items that need a vote are the $4,600 to be transferred into Bernardston's instructional aid line to cover an IA for an increased need with students that started at the district and were in need of some social emotional assistance. So that is just a part-time aid for the remainder of this school year. And the second vote, is moving $9,900 from our district tech renewal line into our other available funds. The reason for this is I was able to reach out to Tyler Technology, and our billing was done from March to February, which is not in compliance with DESE or with our fiscal year. So by doing that, we are only paying a third of the bill this year, which saved us $9,900. The total is $15,000. So we just paid about $5,300 on that for this year, and then we will have a bill July 1st that will cover the actual fiscal year. DESE does not allow you to pay bills more than so many months in advance for the next fiscal year. So that brings us in compliance and was able to get us some savings this year. The reason for putting it in the other available funds line is we will have council and financing fees associated, one-time fees with our deficit bond financing that we are getting. So those will then be asked to be moved to pay for those fees at that time when we know what they are.
Do we need to do those separate or?
So you can vote them,
Together?
I think, together.
I'll make a motion that we transfer $4,600 to for the IA needed in Bernardston, and $9,900 for the savings on the Tyler Technology billing cycle for the fiscal year change.
I'll second that. And thank you, Tanya. This is wonderful to see this in black and white. I think that's something we've needed for a long time.
Okay, all those in favor? All right, thank you.
And again, this will go to the overseer for recommendation to the commissioner for final approval. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to pass on the reallocation of rural aid funds and go on to number 4. Accept $200 Garden Club grant for Bernardston.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor of accepting this garden club grant?
I guess there's no discussion.
You're right.
Money's
We want
good.
peonies.
Secret garden.
Next is a vote to accept $300 donation.
Voted, yeah.
From Abigail Stratton Trust for books at Northfield Elementary School Library.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All right, all those in favor? Okay, unanimous. Superintendent's evaluation.
Okay, Sue and I met here in this very spot on Saturday to collate and summarize your evaluations of our superintendent. So thank you to all of you who completed your evaluations, including one former colleague. We asked that we invited former school committee members who served with John to also do the evaluation. So we had 10 from this committee and 1 from a former colleague from Leiden. So do we need to distribute some information now, some charts?
Is Kristen going to join us for this discussion, do you know? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand out the summary sheet for the evaluation, and then I'm going to give everybody back the document that they filled out for the evaluation so that you can reference it while we discuss the evaluation, and then I will need to recollect them so that Stacy has them on hand if anyone requests them.
Sue?
Robin?
Sue? Robin's got a question, too.
Robin.
Can I just be clear, because I'm just thinking about the evaluation cycle. This is not the final evaluation, it's essentially a formative evaluation.
Mid-cycle eval,
Right.
we built it into the contract.
Correct. But I just wanted to be clear on that because I think I wanted to remind everybody it's a mid-cycle evaluation, it's not the final.
That's true, it was required for the contract.
Just being transparent.
Thank you.
Do you want some help handing those out?
Sure.
What can I hand out for you?
Let's see. I'm gonna just start them here, and we'll just pass them along, okay? And then,
What am I doing?
take one and
Pass it on.
And then we'll put any extras on the end.
Broke my microphone.
They're all the same, right?
Yes.
He was doing okay, but. Oh, good. It's gonna be a little while before you can do that. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. Does he have anybody that comes in and helps him at all? Okay. It's hard to be by yourself.
Were there any extras?
Oh.
Were there any extras?
That's.
Oh, really, the one you gave for me? Was there any extras of the tally sheet?
Nope, I didn't receive any myself.
Okay.
Oh, so you didn't get one?
Does everybody have one?
wait, here they come.
They're coming.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so unlike anyone else in our district that's a person that works for us, the superintendent's evaluation is public. So we have all filled out portions of a document that is provided by the Department of Education and have written comments and
I have one.
Oh, you do have one, okay.
the history of this process is that we, as a committee, we're very excited to hire John as our superintendent. He was also very new to the job, had never been a superintendent, and we had had a fairly challenging experience right before that. So we built into our process the opportunity to do a mid-cycle evaluation so that we would all be able to acknowledge to each other whether we thought this was working well or not. So what we'll talk about tonight is where we are mid-cycle.
Mm-hmm. So what we did was to assign a numerical value, excuse me, to each of the ratings categories. And you can see that at the bottom of the chart, it goes from 0 to 4 for the superintendent's goals, and from 0 to 3 for the scoring based on the standards, okay? And then toward the bottom, after we tallied for each individual who submitted an evaluation, we tallied the total and divided it by 11 individuals who made complete evaluations. And then we came up with an average score, as you can see. And it correlates with the categories we've listed at the bottom. SIG-P means significant progress, and some P means some progress, and M means met, and E means exceeded. There were no scores below that. There were no scores that said did not meet. And remember, this is for a mid-cycle evaluation. For the standards, likewise, there were no unsatisfactory ratings given. There was only one needs improvement, majority were proficient, and there were several exemplary scorings as well. So, you also, many of you provided comments. Many of them were extensive. And we decided that the best way to proceed might be to give you back your evaluations and allow you to refer to them for any questions you might have or comments you'd like to make. You could read them from your evaluations, or you could make entirely new comments if you'd like.
Can I just mention something?
Yeah.
In discussing our process with our attorney, Russell made it clear that through our discussions with John, as we go over the document, people may choose to change scores, and that the document is not really final until we all get through the process together of discussing it.
So we'll give you a few moments to look at the chart.
So page 2 of this basically restates the goals and the standards. So it makes it easy to refer to.
Right.
Overall, it's a very positive evaluation.
And very consistent.
Yes.
Both from individual to individual and across the board as far as the goals and standards go.
Did you have your hand up? No. Okay. Okay, let's look at goal 1, which was to create a middle school technology club leading to robotics competitions or presentations. And John, feel free to chime in. This is supposed to be a conversation. Yeah. So if you feel we've missed anything or misunderstood anything, you can let us know.
I mean, just a comment, and I think you saw that on display tonight with some of the presenters here from Coke and in Greenfield and Savings, that we make significant progress in that area.
Yeah.
So under M for that, John we'll have a community technology night to showcase work in progress. That was tonight.
Isn't that convenient?
Isn't that amazing? And then local business will sponsor a club, and then we had the donation from Coke, and networking with local businesses, and we had, John mentioned Coca-Cola, Greenfield Savings, Sandry Oil, and some others that I didn't get into my rubric. So significant progress. Mm-hmm. And the final score on that was significant progress. Goal number 2. So goal number 2 is a student learning goal. Evaluate and assess existing curriculum and promote teachers to lead positions from within. So John, you might want to update on this. What I noted was that the lead teacher model is now in place in the high school.
Yeah, that's correct. Yep, we have the 4 lead teacher positions, which was a combination of the teacher leaders positions and the department heads that used to exist in Pioneer. So we created 4 lead teacher kind of new positions that was a hybrid of both of those positions. So that's in place and going well. Our dean of students is involved with the lead teachers here, as well as Principal Bacon. So that's been very successful this year.
The makerspace was updated, or?
Yep, we went from the traditional wood shop, which are still doing aspects of woodworking, but to the new makerspace and recreating that space and creating new courses that go along with that space, which was some of that was on display tonight as well. So.
Goal 3, district improvement goal. All teachers and administrators will have professional development opportunities for ELL and special ed requirements for their licenses. So John had provided artifacts and evidence and noted that there was a link to a free DESE course provided to the faculty that needed to meet requirements for licensure. Do you have anything else you want to add to that?
No, that was those were free courses for our teachers, where in most districts those are paid. So I try to find something that was that would fulfill that requirement, but also not cost our teachers any money.
Okay. So the first 3 goals were all significant progress. Number 4 is a shared superintendent and school committee goal. Superintendent will demonstrate consistent communication with the school committee chair and members on a monthly basis as documented through records of meetings and email communication. I just want to say John's a great communicator.
I'm certainly getting a lot of email.
Yeah.
It's all helpful, really. It's up to me to do something with it.
It's really been a pleasure. Yes, yes.
I just have to say real quickly, coming into this position together as a team, really, to heal this district and get us back on track has been quite a challenge. But I don't think I would have wanted to do it with anybody else besides John. He and I communicate all hours of the day, and especially when this started, I mean, we were really talking to each other a lot, communicating, and getting on the same wavelength and where this district was going financially and educationally. And without those communication skills, I don't think we would have gotten to the point that we're at right now.
Additionally, I've had people associated with the high school take me aside and say they've had a really great experience working with John.
Yeah, I have too, had people throughout the district actually saying what a pleasure it is to have the positive
feedback and communication with the superintendent.
And the overall score on that one was met. That goal was met. Karen, you want to read the standards?
Yeah. Standard 1, the educational leader promotes the learning and growth of all students and the success of all staff by cultivating a shared vision that makes powerful teaching and learning the central focus of schooling.
And the overall score on this one was proficient.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I noted new course development, the public safety courses that we've talked about. John, I wonder if you could talk to us a little bit about the ways that you've been sort of functioning as a curriculum coordinator for the district, because I think that ties into this standard.
Yep, so you've heard tonight we've had some exciting opportunities to do courses. The new criminal justice course is really exciting, as we talked about. There's 11 students getting 3 college credits at no cost to them by taking this course. They're also going to obtain some real life certifications that they can come out of this course with. And we're looking to expand that with potentially with the Sheriff's Department. For next year, we have a new fire services course. Same concept. Students are going to be able to obtain real certifications, first aid, AED, CPR certifications, the new makerspace courses. So it's really creating those courses and opportunities for our students, aligning them with the state standards, and then implementing them and getting them in place. So I'm a person that once I set my mind to something, I like to get it accomplished and get it accomplished quickly and do it the right way. And I think we've made some real strides here in our district in providing these opportunities for our students that they may not have in other districts and surrounding districts. We're trying to do new initiatives, new things that have never been done in this district or surrounding districts, as with GCC and some of the stuff we're trying to do there, or the partnerships with these companies. I mean, these are kind of first of its kind. And I think that word is spread. I had the Vernon School Committee reach out to me and come visit because they were interested in sending more students here. I had Jim Trill, the principal at Irving, come here to visit, and I went a few days ago to visit him because he sees where our vision is headed, and he and Vernon, both feel that they want to be a part of this and sending their students here. So it's really nice to see, that people are coming back to Pioneer. Pioneer's had a rich tradition of being a strong district. I remember I grew up in Northampton, and I had friends here in this district. And it was always well known for its academics. For me, I played sports. It was a great sports, school district as well. I know they've been known for years for their theater, their arts, music. I mean, it's just quite a district, and see what it's gone through the past couple of years and trying to, bring that, resurrect and bring that sense of respect and pride back to the district. It's always been here, I think. People have so much passion. I came here last year as a teacher, and I was fully committed. I bought into everything. This was the best place I'd ever worked. And that's why I'm sitting here today. I got really invested, really involved. And that's how all of our staff is. It's unbelievable to go to these schools and watch the principals do what they do, to watch the dean of students here do what she does. The cafeteria staff, I mean, it starts with, the bus drivers outside, the cafeteria staff, the custodial staff. I mean, I've seen Peter at Northfield in a matter of 5 minutes get, a hug from a 7-year-old girl, and 2 minutes later, another little girl's coming and passing him, I love you, Peter note, and boys are high-fiving them, and, it's the same thing, at Bernardston Elementary. I mean, it's just unbelievable, like how much people do here. I mean, the teachers are unbelievable, the quality of education that they provide, and I always look at it too from a parent standpoint. I have 2 sets of twins. I have 4 children in 5th grade, 2 in 5th grade, 2 in 7th, and would I feel comfortable sending my kids to this school district? I'd feel comfortable sending my kids to any school in this district, and I believe in Pioneer, and I think the community now is seeing that, and they believe in Pioneer. As you can see, Greenfield Savings giving us a $10,000 check. Coca-Cola's given us 4,500 with a possibility of another 20,000, coming in through water sales, and they given us free vending machines. They provided a new backload cooler to the cafeteria. So, I feel that Pioneer's back and strong, and we're going to keep growing. We're going to do things that this is going to be a model school, in our district. I really believe that this is going to be a model school that that other schools in our state are going to look at and say that's what we have to do. So I'm really honored to be here, and I'm grateful that you hired me and gave me this opportunity. So thank you.
To piggyback on that, John got on the phone this morning to congratulate me for Scott's success, and he looked up Scott. And I've been here 25 years as a coach. I've had some success occasionally, and that's never happened before. I've never had an administrator say, "All right, thanks, good job." So thank you.
That's great.
I had another comment in that section, which was the evidence of, so my first kind of experience that there were things going wrong in this district was when Gene Bacon came to our elementary school to discuss what was happening with the curriculum and the unenrolled classes that were happening at Pioneer. I did not have a child here then, and I was alarmed to find out that kids were spending an exorbitant amount of time doing nothing or studying.
Doing nothing, you're correct.
And so this has been changing, and one thing that I appreciate that I have seen happen through the curriculum committee is the work with Pioneer and with Gene to renegotiate what these classes are that are under-enrolled. Try to make a new vision for what these things are that already exist, and so that the teachers that are here that are teaching can teach something they want to be teaching and that these kids want to be learning and that is valuable for them. And so these kids want to be in these classrooms engaging with these amazing teachers that we have. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, shall we go to Standard 2? Standard 2, the education leader promotes the learning and growth of all students and the success of all staff by ensuring a safe, efficient, and effective learning environment using resources to implement appropriate curriculum, staffing, and scheduling. And that score was proficient as well, all the way down, everyone. Any comments?
Well, I just want to note that when I first started working on the Curriculum and Personnel Committee, we didn't really have job descriptions for almost anybody.
Yeah.
And now we have a lot of them. And also just the fiscal systems, as Tanya said, it's been such a pleasure to collaborate with John and Tanya on having an actual fiscal system that we trust and understand.
I'd also like to add that the environment walking through any of our schools has improved tremendously from what it was a year ago. And I think that's a credit to John's leadership.
And I believe restoring the Dean of Students position and the lead teacher positions really helped with that.
I think so too.
And this is really true. Last year, my kids would come to practice on edge, really on edge, and not this year. It was really amazing to see how on edge they were.
Shall we go on to Standard 3? Which is?
Yes.
Thank you. Standard 3 says, the educational leader promotes the learning and growth of all students and the success of all staff through effective partnerships with families, community organizations, and other stakeholders that support the mission of the district and its schools. And the score was proficient overall, with several exemplaries and one needs improvement.
So I'm not sure how I could improve, but there's always room for improvement, so I appreciate that feedback. But I do more outreach than any person I know, honestly. I put in like 16-hour days. I speak to everyone. Everybody I'm sure in this room probably has my cell phone number. I get called on Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. All hours, you know, I'm on the deep phone of the DPW at 4 a.m. and the bus company at 4 a.m. on the snow days. But I try to be, I've sent out emails to parents and staff and the school committee, and just trying to be as open, transparent as I can. But I have an open door policy. Students come in to talk to me. I always make time for anyone that wants to speak with me. There's not one person that's reached out to me that I haven't met with, talked to, or gotten back to, usually within a 24-hour period. So, but I appreciate that comment. I mean, I will continue to do what I've been doing and more if possible.
Yeah, well, and sometimes, you know, this process is not perfect, and sometimes it's a, I almost feel like we should be able to do this and then score this thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes.
Because it's sometimes hard to know.
Yep.
Hard for you to give us enough evidence in writing, right? So maybe we can think about that for the future. Robin?
Oh, I actually have a message from Mr. Latoile.
From who?
From Mr. Latoile.
Okay.
Mr. Latoile, who is on bus duty in the mornings, and just wanted to communicate that he really appreciates the rapidity of the decision making on as far as delays and snow days, and how that's been communicated in a really timely fashion. So he just wanted me to pass that along.
I'd like to say from my work with the challenging discussions at the curriculum and personnel subcommittee meetings that John has certainly done the overtime work that he speaks of, talking to all possible people who might be able to assist or become involved in our search for the right answer to how to keep the schools as safe as possible. Anything else on this one? Okay, we'll go to the last standard. The educational leader promotes the learning and growth of all students and the success of all staff by nurturing and sustaining a district-wide culture of reflective practice, high expectations, and continuous learning for the staff. And losing sight. And the ratings again were proficient all the way down. Anyone?
Well, I'll just say in this one, this is where I noted John's communication skills, and also the continuous learning section that taught his new course development and the collaborations and the makerspace and the shared vision, the collaboration with GCC and the tech director and the new tech initiatives. Lots of great stuff there. Yeah.
And his willingness to meet face to face with anybody who wants that time. He's there.
So, yeah, we're going to collect up everybody's rubric.
I'll get them for you.
So the documents that go into the superintendent's evaluation are public documents. If anyone wants to look at them, they're available. move on to personnel staff changes. Are there any staff changes that we need to talk about? Anybody have any questions about the staff changes? So I'm going to do a roll call vote right now so that we can go into executive session so that we can do contract negotiations with John.
I would like to make a motion. I'd like to make a motion to go into the executive session to discuss contract negotiations, and we will go into open session afterwards to vote on the contract of our superintendent.
So each person needs to say their name and say yes or no.
Jim Bell, Bernardston, yes.
Jeannie Milton, Bernardston, yes.
Robin Latoile, Northfield, yes.
Pat Sherry, yes.
Sue O'Reilly McCray, Warwick, yes.
Mike Townsley, Bernstein, yes.
Karen Fontaine, Leiden, yes.
Abby Pratt, Leiden, yes.
Jessica Marshall, Warwick, yes.
Karen O'Neill, Leiden, yes.
So,
Okay. Well, Sharon made the motion initially, so she might want to make
okay.
it again.
So Sharon, do you want to make the motion that you just made in the executive session to approve the contract?
Yes,
We agreed on a 5-year contract.
yes. The committee has decided that we should honor a 5-year contract for Superintendent schedule with you want me to go with the increase?
Yeah, let's do
The increases of travel and cell phone to 5,000, add 2 personal days. Jonathan is going to not do the last 2 years of the superintendent training, and that will save us $7,800 over the 2 years. And we've approved a 5% increase for the 2nd year, the 3rd year, the 4th year, and the 5th year of the contract. There's to be no increase the 1st year.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's my motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor of the new contract? Thank you, everybody. And John and I have signed the contract. And
Yay.
Thank you.
thank you,
Yeah.
John.
Thank you.
Good job, everybody.
Was Pat's suggestion?
You're the one that made the motion. I seconded it. Oh, okay.
It's okay, I had my notes, I was gonna help you.
Thank you.
Right.
You did
That's
just
it.
by being there.
Okay.
I make a motion to adjourn
I
the
second.
school committee
I
meeting.
third.
Did we have any?
I don't think so.
Okay, next
I
meeting.
hope we didn't.
All in favor?
All in favor of adjourning? Our next full meeting is March 14th, but we have many meetings before then.
Yep.
Our next
That we
full
do.
school committee meeting,
Right.
regularly
We skipped
scheduled
welfare.
school.
We got stuff